So if you guys remember, about a week ago, I made a full YouTube video, a full outbound campaign breakdown on an outbound campaign I was going to be running with my client and how we were going to guarantee 15 to 20 calls booked within the first month from cold outbound DMs. Okay, no, nothing warm, cold outbound DMs. Okay, and we're about a week in, and it's safe to say the results have been pretty mad. I told you guys, I didn't lie. I told you guys I'm going to take you guys through the whole journey. You're going to see if I fail or you're going to see if I succeed. And come on, I know you guys did not think I would fail. So without further ado, I'm about to get into it right now. Let's take a look and let's see what the results have been like this past week. So let's get onto Loom right here. First of all, let's look at some of the team performances. Okay, so this is a team of 4 setters right now. Okay, 1 setter, 288 messages, 46 replies, a 15% reply rate, about 10 calls per book. Sorry, about 10 calls proposed, and 5 calls per book. So about a 50% booking rate from 288 messages, from 50 replies, basically from 50 replies to like 10 calls actually booked. About a 50% booking rate. Setter 2, 365 messages, 34 replies, about a 9 to 10% response rate, 66 follow-ups, 7 calls proposed and 4 calls booked. So just a little bit of a higher booking rate than setter number 1. And then setter number 2, or setter number 3, sorry, 350 messages, 32 replies, so a 9% response rate, tons of follow-ups, only 3 calls proposed and 0 calls booked. So it's right here. It's clear to see what the bottleneck is. If you've got 32 replies, but you've only proposed to 3% of them, not 3%, you've only proposed to 3 of them and 0 of them is booked. Okay, we need to start, proposing to more people. Okay, this shows you the data, but we're on a tangent. Setter number 4, 310 messages, 33 replies, about a 10% response rate, 4 calls proposed and 1 call booked, so about a 25% booking rate. Okay, so all in all, the team, about 10 calls booked. Here are some of the conversions. This isn't every single one of the conversions, but here's some of the conversions. About 17 to, let's say we're averaging about 15% reply rate from DMs to conversations. And we've had 10 calls booked so far within the first week and a bit. Okay, 10 calls booked from cold outbound within the first week or a bit. That's 10 potential sales calls with good qualified leads. The boys are smashing it, genuinely. Okay, if you remember, the goal was 15 calls booked within a month, and we're on track to absolutely violate that. We're on track to absolutely smash that as long as the boys keep going, and as long as we just keep at this rate. We keep smashing outreach. Okay, we keep the replies coming up. We increase some of these metrics. Okay, I'm even going to show you guys in this video today how you can literally make it impossible for you not to hit your goals with metrics right in front of you. Okay, so let's take a look at, first of all, some of the highs. Like, what are some of the highs from this outbound campaign so far? Number 1, okay, team culture. The team culture right now in this outbound campaign with this team that I've built for this client is massive. Okay, the group chat is buzzing. The team calls popping off. Okay, the vibes are so high. After the first few days, as expected, everything was slow. The DMs, replies were slow, especially with an outbound campaign, cold outbound. Naturally, the first days, as expected, things are gonna be slow. Okay, majority of calls and closes are gonna come from, I don't know why that says closes, are gonna come from follow-ups. As the audience is nowhere near warm yet. Okay, but the team culture has been huge. Okay, it takes a lot of character for a team to soldier through a tough couple of days and show, you know what, let's smash it. It takes a lot of character, but I've built a team full of killers. It's normal. Okay, 10 calls booked in less than halfway. The quota is 15, so we are well and truly on target to smash and violate that goal. You know what I mean? 5, 4, okay, 5, 4, 10. If as long as we get this setter up and firing, as soon as we get this set up firing, that number could get a lot more scarier. Okay, so reply rate is insane too. As expected, if you watch the first video, I said, okay, due to the approach we're taking, we're leveraging results and we're leveraging names. Okay, so the reply rate, naturally, out of curiosity, people are always going to reply. That's why we've been able to get, a 15% reply rate, a 9% reply rate, a 9%, 10%. We're averaging about 10%. Okay, and compared to some outbound campaigns, even some warm outbound campaigns, a 10 to 15% response rate, reply rate from cold outbound is amazing. Okay, so the boys have well and truly smashed it on that. Reply rate is crazy, and these are all things I said. Secondly, finally, sales assets. Okay, with this approach we've been taking, we've been leading with free value. Okay, free value is, I've learned, especially with outbound campaigns, when these people don't really know you, leading with free value is the number one way you are going to make all the money. Okay, I have been sold myself. I'm a salesperson, and I've been sold myself just by being given so much free value to the point where I feel like I've owned this person. I felt like, oh wow, this person's giving me so much free value. Imagine how much value they're going to give me if I just send them my credit card. Okay, I've been able to sell people like this myself. I signed the guy the other day in the sauna because I gave him free value. I literally signed the guy for 3K because I gave him free value. Okay, so leading with free value is the main thing. We've been leveraging a sales asset, kind of explaining what we do, sending it to them in the DMs. They read it, they're like, wow, these guys have got all these results. So sales assets are a big thing. I've learned that from one of my new mentors. Sales assets make you a ton of money. Sales assets, leading with free value, that's leading to book calls, and that's leading to close deals. Okay, so we're closing deals just off of leading with free value. As soon as we lead with free value, we can book more calls. We can book 10 calls within, less than 10 days, and we can fucking close a ton of deals too. Okay, so the highs is just the team is crushing it. Okay, 10 calls, reply rate is insane. We're leading with free value. The boys are thriving. The data is all here. The data is all being collected. We're seeing what we need to optimize. Everything is perfect. Okay, everything is just about keeping that momentum and turning it up another level, turning it up a notch. Okay, so those are some of the highs. The team are crushing it, but with everything, there's lows. Okay, so let's get into some of the lows from the outbound campaign. Not as good as a conversion that there could be. Although we said the replies are great, which they are great, they're not as much replies. Obviously, account one replies, 50% reply rate, which is good, decent. Not as much of a reply rate as it could be. Okay, so these are things we're working on, split testing, changing the scripts, changing the outreach approach. But from looking at the data, the replies to calls, or the replies that we're getting, 46 replies to 10 calls proposed. Okay, well, right away we can see that the replies aren't as good as the conversions from the calls that we're booking to the replies, they can be a lot better. You know what I mean? Like for this setter right now, the setter number one, if he's booked 5 calls off of proposing to 10, imagine if we just increase that calls proposed rate. Imagine if we times that by 2. Imagine if we change that from 10. You can literally do the data. Imagine if we just pitch 10 more people, the way the data is going, we'd book 5 more people. If we just increase that proposed rate by 10, if we send another 288 messages, but we increase that that pitch rate from 25% to about 50%, if we increase that pitch rate, the calls booked is going to increase as well, just from looking at the data. Okay, once you look at data, it's impossible not to win. Or we can just look at it as a fact of, okay, how about we increase the activity? Okay, so it's taken us 288 messages to book 5 calls. Well, 5, if the goal is 15, say if we want every single person to hit 15, obviously we want just 15 overall. But if we want number one to hit, setter number one to hit 15 calls, it's going to take 288 messages to book 5 calls. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. So 288 divided by 3 is 834. 834 messages. If 834 divided by 3 is 288, right? So if we just times the outreach number by 3 and get 15 book calls, sorry, if we just times the outreach number by 3, we're going to get 15 more booked calls. You know what I mean? We're going to get another 10 booked calls because we've already got 5 with 288 messages. Let's just carry on doing exactly what we're doing, but just times the outreach number by 3 and everything else will have a knock-on effect. You see how just by looking at the data for everyone, every single setter, I've told them to do this. Let's look at the data. You need to send, you need to figure out how much more outreach you need to increase. Do you need to times it by 4? How many messages you need to send if it takes you 360 messages to send 4, okay, times 365 by 2, that's going to get you to 8 messages. Okay, do it again. Add another 365. You see how we're just increasing the number, increasing the inputs, and as long as you're doing the same, as long as you're on your A game, the calls are going to come if you're doing the exact same thing. You know what I mean? So, not as much conversations that there could be, outreach to replies to calls, but these are all things we're working on. These are all things we're doing with a split test. Not enough pitches, okay? As you can see, if we've got 50 replies, but only 10 people have been pitched, that's really not good enough. Why is it only 25% pitch rate? Why is it not 50? Okay. That means more pitching needs to be done. Okay. This is the main point I've really been drilling in the team so we can set pace. At the end of the day, if we've booked 10 calls with barely pitching, you've only pitched 10 of your 50 replies. You've only pitched 7 of your 30 replies. You've only pitched 3 of your 30 replies. You've only pitched 4 of your 30 replies. Like, imagine how much calls there would be as soon as we increase that pitch rate. Okay. So, not enough pitches. That's been a big low. I've been getting onto the boys, and that is the main focus point. Let's pitch more. Let's pitch more. Let's get these guys on calls. Okay. Cut it down to 4 reps instead of 5. So obviously, as you guys know, we started with 5. But in order to centralize everything, I noticed the bottleneck. I noticed that, all right, cool. It's not as efficient with 5 other guys. One guy is outreaching this guy, and then this guy isn't really doing his job, and then this guy isn't really listening. He's not coming to team calls. He's not, enforcing the team culture. I'm sorry, bro, but we're trying to run as an efficient team as possible. We've got to get rid of you. Okay, so we centralize the team to ensure that we're getting the most done, and that has showed them results. As soon as we did that, we started booking calls like crazy. So cutting down the team, cutting down to 4 reps, increased the numbers massively. So that's not really a low. If anything, that's an improvement, and I'm going to go into that in the takeaways, okay? But the real consensus of the highs and the lows is that the team culture is great. Calls are getting booked. However, a lot more calls could be getting booked by just pitching more, maybe replying faster, and getting more replies. Like, let's aim for a 20% response rate each. It's more than possible. You know what I mean? So that is what we've kind of gathered from the data. Okay. And there's some key takeaways too. Data is king. We've changed about 3 scripts by now. And by looking at the data, we've changed about 3 scripts by now. By looking at the data. Okay. So by looking at the data here, I had data for each script we were using. We used the first script. We were able to tell that, no, we're not booking enough calls from this. We're not getting enough replies. Oh, leads are ghosting. By talking to the reps, leads are ghosting after the second message. Okay, we need to be a lot more direct. So by looking at the data and actually speaking to the team, when you're running an outbound campaign, communication with the team is the most important thing that can possibly happen, because at the end of the day, if you're not communicating with your setters, you don't know what's happening. You don't know, you're not going to be in the ground yourself, so you don't know what the issue is. Okay, we identified the change that needs to be made. Not enough replies after the second message. All right, cool. We'll go for a more direct approach. Okay, so just by looking at data, having these data points right here, we could have literally just had our calls booked, but we wouldn't have known how much calls were proposed. We wouldn't have known how much outreaches were sent, and we wouldn't have known what we need to improve on. Data right there, if you have data is literally going to tell you what you need to improve, and I've walked you through it. Right now, we need to improve on pitches, as what I've seen. Okay, as what I've seen, we need to improve on pitches, and if we're not getting, straight away we can see, why are we not pitching as much replies as we're getting. Like, we're getting 60 replies. Why haven't at least 30 been pitched? Okay, so data is king. Identifying data points, making sure you've got data points in your tracking in your CRM, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. Okay, the second takeaway is outbound is stronger than ever if done. However, it's nowhere near as optimal for long-term success as being able to dial in things like ads. This is something that has just been even more enforced to me this week. Okay, outbound is strong, and if it's done sustainably, it's great. If you have no money, if you have a lack of capital, outbound is still great. However, nowhere near as optimal for long-term success as just being able to dial in your ad systems. Okay, and finally, follow-ups plus speed is key to success. The takeaways are speed and follow-ups and data. I need to add that. Speed, follow-ups plus... What is it being weird for? Data is key to success. As soon as you're able to optimize for all of these things, optimize for speed and urgency, optimize for follow-ups, a lot of these calls have come from follow-ups, optimize for data, I promise you your outbound team will crush it. You will book as much calls as you've ever wanted to in your life, okay? So here's that's the breakthrough. That's the rundown of how the outbound campaign has been going. And now you guys can see how the boys have been doing. Okay, first week, 10 calls booked. I'll bring you guys in for the second week too. And we're really just going to see how it's looking like the second week. What improvements have been made. How have the boys done, and go from there. Okay, hope you guys have enjoyed that video. Any questions you've got, let me know. I'm still doing free sales audits, so just book a link down below, or just follow me on Instagram and DM me audit. Literally, that's all it would take. I'll reply to you myself. I won't have my set to do it. And let's crush it. I hope you guys have a great week. Hope you guys found this video super insightful. Any questions, just drop them down below in the comments or DM me. And I'll catch you guys soon.